Hi, it's Yvonne from Women's Fitness Adventures. So lovely to be here with you on Monday night. I was busy, just busy concentrating, so I missed the start time. And I'm sure, like, if you're like me, the rest of the world, we are so busy that I don't have time for this and I don't have time for that. Just busy, busy, busy. And that was really the theme that seemed to run through the past week, and our theme around hiking fitness as well, and how we can begin, or maintain our hiking fitness. So welcome to Monday Night Live. I'm Yvonne Shepherd, the founder and CEO of Women's Fitness Adventures, and I've been coming to you live Monday night for about 7 or 8 years now. So looking forward to sharing this next short little while with you. So feel free to jump in and share where you are coming from. If you have any questions or anything you'd like me to raise, please do so. Just put a little comment in there. Welcome to Monday Night Live. So tonight, or this afternoon, this evening, this morning, wherever you're watching from, whatever time, I am just going to cover something that we went through during the week with our members inside Women's Fitness Adventures. And hi, Marianne. We were talking about you today, actually, about our upcoming Great Ocean Road hike. Leanne and I were chatting about you, and that she's sharing a room with you. So in this past week, we were talking about we had a masterclass inside the Women's Fitness Adventures community talking about hiking fitness. And some of the comments that came from that masterclass, and they're speaking of Leanne, there she is, and hello, Carolyn, as well, were how can I increase my fitness without injury? How do I increase my cardio fitness? How do I sustain and keep motivation? How do I increase my hiking confidence? And how do I go when I am returning from injury? And hello, Brodwin from sunny Tasmania. You love chiming in where it's sunny down there. So there's lots of things as we went through in our masterclass the other night. If you remember, you can watch it on the replay if you haven't seen it, about our hiking fitness. And hiking fitness is a life cycle. It is not just about being strong in the legs or being a fair weather hiker and choosing not to hike the hills, just hike the flat because you don't like cardio or you don't like training on the hills. So there's lots of things that belong in that hiking fitness life cycle. But today I want to talk about, I would like to talk about hiking confidence when going downhill. So if you're watching and you have a question or you have a comment, then please chime in. But a lot of our hiking downhill, depending where we are, can be over a gravelly surface. It can be over a snow or ice surface, depending where you are. It can be scree. So if you are in a volcanic region, like we were recently with Tongariro in New Zealand, or heading to Iceland or Japan, where there's quite a bit of ski as well, but scree. Then that can, when we're presented with an unknown surface, that can really skew our thinking to that immediate sense of, I'm worried, I don't know how to do this, what if I fall, what if I can't do it, what if? And then we tend to lose a little bit of confidence, and then we start to hike with some fear, where we grip those hiking poles so tight and we're so tense, we're gritting our teeth as well, and then we start to hunch over. So we don't want to be in that space, because when we're in that space of tense, of nervous, of worried, of tackling something that we haven't done before, that's when an injury, or that's when a fall, or that's when the risk of an accident is much, much higher. But the great news is that our confidence when we're hiking downhill can be boosted, and soon keep progressing on to more and more challenging things. So if you have any questions about your confidence hiking downhill, or any firsthand experience that you'd love to share, then please pop that in the comments below, because we do know that when one woman shares her story, it really helps other women, because once we know that, we're not the only ones thinking in that space, it really makes a big difference to how we think, act, and approach some of the things that we do. So one of the ways that we can quite easily boost our confidence for going downhill, and our confidence for life in general, is to really get our balance in check. And balance is one of those things that happens when we get to I guess this, and I guess it is like a sense, one of our senses. And if we're not regularly, looking for ways to maintain or improve our balance, then we can lose our balance. So, a really easy tip to do is to find the hallway in your home, if you have one, or even on the footpath, and it's just do, if this is your ankle and this is your toe, you just do heel, toe, uh, and look straight ahead. Don't look down at your feet. We all know our feet are there, and just start there. And as you get more confident, you can, in your hallway, close your eyes and start to do that heel toe as long as you go, or stand on one foot and clean your teeth. And I know there's quite a lot of our members that stand on one foot to clean their teeth. And then, and most of you know my mantra is, if you can stand up, putting your undies on, not sitting down, putting your undies on, progress to jeans, progress to stockings, gym tights, whatever they might be, then you know your balance is really going in the right place. Because when we get our balance strong, we get more stable. And when we get more stable, we become more confident. And that may sound like it's an old person, well, I'm waving, an old person's thing, but we can start to lose our balance and it slip away from us at any age. And the more we strengthen and the more we put ourselves in those positions where we're challenging our balance, the stronger and more confident we get in all of the activities that we choose to do. And that can be walking down the street, along the footpath, really getting that balance, aligned with not kidding ourselves to where we think we are with our balance. So that could even be, when you're doing yoga, doing the, I call it the bird dog, but, one leg out at the back, one arm out the front, really can make a huge difference to our balance. And we're on the ground when we do that. But the balance helps our stability, and our stability helps us keep upright. So, the use of hiking poles won't help our balance. It will help us keep more stable, but it won't help our balance. So we still need to do those functional moves that help us with our balance. And some of those are getting strong through our torso. It doesn't mean having a six-pack of abs. It just means that we are strong through our torso, that our body's ability to hold itself upright, to hold itself with good posture, is going to help our balance. And balance also comes from in the head. So on all of the hikes that I do, I get to talk a lot with all of the ladies that come on our hikes, but I also get to chat with our adventure partners that we have and the hiking guides, and some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that, most people aren't privy to is, we often talk about what makes a good hiker, what makes someone a competent hiker, or what are the things that if of all the hiking guides I've spoken to over the 9 years that our Women's Fitness has been going, Women's Fitness Adventures, what is some of the things that you would impart to someone who asks what makes a good hiker, is that you are present, that you show up to where you're going fully present. Because if you do that, then you minimize the risk of injury, or just distraction that can lead to injury, or lack of concentration that can lead to injury as well, or lack of concentration that can lead to a little slip out, which might then damage or put a dent in our confidence. And hi, Cherie. And one of the ways that we can show up fully present to our hiking is, if you think about, now all of you, and I'd love for someone to start sharing some comments, if you think about, and we had this morning, for anyone who was on our adventure this morning, our weekly hike about in Brisbane, was that, we all come to a hike fresh from, in the morning, doing all the bits and pieces, worried if we're going to get there on time, if we're going to, get lost, did I eat enough, is there a toilet at the start, that sort of stuff. Or what might have happened the night before, or the last conversation that you had. And we come to our arrival place with all that information in our head. And for most of us, when we're hiking along, it's a combination between having a chat to someone, thinking about the trail, can I do it, can I not do it, but also processing that stuff that's gone on in our life without us even realizing. And really makes a big difference to our hiking confidence, how present we are in our own adventure. So before I go any further, thank you for those of you who have let me know that you're watching, and I really appreciate you being here from all over the country. But I know there's a few more of you watching, so if you are watching, please let me know where you're watching from, whether this is your first time, and if anyone certainly has any questions or wishes to share any of their life experience with what I'm talking about, that would be a great thing, because we do know it helps others on their hiking journey. So one of the processes that we go through when we're out on an adventure is getting that stuff out of our head to start with. Because if we're walking along and the trail becomes quite technical, and we're thinking about, what we're going to cook for dinner that night, or the conversation that we had at home last night that might not have gone well, or that book that we've just read that we're trying to figure out the ending, or the Netflix series, or the puzzle I'm trying to figure out, or, the bills that need to be paid, or all these things that are going on in our head, then we're not present with where we need to be on the trail. Our mind is elsewhere. So part of our hiking fitness, part of our hiking confidence is actually being present, but realizing and appreciating that getting present is actually a little bit of a journey in itself. So using the drive or the walk or whatever that section is to showing up on a hiking adventure, use that to get all that flow out. Drive in the car without any noise, without any radio or distraction, and use that to get the stuff out. So as I said, in the 9 years that I've been talking to all the hiking guides and all our adventure partners about what makes a great hiker, this ability to put themselves and be present in their own adventure from the very beginning. Doesn't mean you can't have chats and conversations. It means you've shown up, and whatever else is going on in the world that day, you're here present in that adventure. And if that means you need Mother Nature to wrap her beautiful arms around you and you just be quiet and be you as you walk along and concentrate, let the thoughts flow in and out, then that's it as well. Because when we let that process flow through, we then become focused on the adventure, and our confidence will increase, and our confidence for going downhill will increase. We're not worried about, last time I was out on the trailer, this happened, I had no confidence. When is that hill coming up that I'm really, really worried about? Because when we can be fully present, we get better, I'm going to say head, eye, and feet coordination. We aren't going to be so tense and holding onto our poles, which can get in our way, or holding poles the wrong way either. So, becoming fully present, and then letting the mind, the head, the eyes, and the mind, and the feet all connect, so that we can then get that nice rhythm, that nice coordination going, will really make for a better hiking experience. And when we have a better hiking experience, we ourselves become better hikers. So if we understand that being fully present makes for a better hiker, if we understand that being strong in our bodies through our functional fitness makes us to be better hikers, then they're things that we control. And then we can bring some tools in to help us with our hiking confidence, particularly when we're going down hills. And hi, Sue-Ann, thank you for joining us here tonight as well. So when we use hiking poles, and we went through this training this morning in Brisbane at Hike About, it is particular going down steps. And, there's often on a trail some steps and some uneven steps. And the confidence in going down steps, depending how big the steps are or little, can vary from person to person. And one of our strong recommendations is, as we get stronger in our body and become more confident hikers, we're going to get stronger in our mindset about being a confident hiker. And it just has this beautiful repeating circle. Hi, Jack, and hi, Debbie. So when we always suggest to people, or women in our world, that when you're hiking downstairs, is if you use hiking poles, make the poles longer. Don't jump, trot, down some stairs. Try not to hold the rails when you go downstairs, because the more you choose not to hold the rail, the more confident you're going to get. So if you have stairs at home, we would suggest that you start walking up the stairs without holding the rail, and just get confident in that skill of walking upstairs. And if you are doing that well, then maybe start walking downstairs without holding the rail, but making sure that when you hike downhill or downstairs, that your knees, toes, and hips are all facing in the same direction. We're really keen, and we saw this morning, for people to turn on their side and start sidestepping kind of fashion down some steps. And that is a recipe for falling or twisting ankles or bodies or all sorts of things. So quite a bit of, but that doesn't even make sense. But again, it all comes back to being functionally fit, having that great balance within your body, and then understanding what the muscles inside your body do for hiking will give you more and more confidence. So I've seen over the years women become so paralyzed with fear when they're hiking downhill that they choose to say no to things. And we don't have to start our downhill run on the black run. We need to, who did the big, I'd love to see that as your reaction. You don't have to start your downhill journey on the black runs. You need to start your downhill journey, hiking downhill journey, just on a small surface, and get confident with that, and then just go more and more, like just keep taking yourself up, because as we do, it's like anything, as we do more things, we get more confident. And little toddlers didn't learn to, if they had stopped falling over or stopped getting up after they fell over, then none of us as adults would actually be walking. So hello, Colette. I have missed you. I agree, balance is important, and practice makes it easier to walk without having to think about the actual walk, but cover the terrain while being able to engage in other activities like talking or looking around. Yeah, balance is really, really important. And the better we get at it, then we can enjoy the experience more, because if we are so worried about what's coming up or hurting ourselves, part of the hiking experience is sharing it with other people, whether they're part of our community or other walks you go on. Part of the enjoyment of a hike is sharing it with other people and getting that mind and body in the right space, that you can do that rather than being so worried about hiking downhill. Tracy hiked the Tongariro circuit last week. Lots of steep uphill and down. Totally agree with being in the moment and core strength. Go your own pace. Stop when you want to look up at the view. Absolutely. And Tongariro was fantastic. We were there a couple of weeks ago, Tracy. And, we often say that if you're going to stop to take photos, if you're going to text, anything like that, if you're going to take photos or text, you need to stop. Because you cannot walk and text. I've seen so many people doing that. But along with balance also comes reaction time. So as we get better with our balance, our ability to stay upright, our ability to, manage more complex downhill gets better. But also our if we do lose our balance, knowing our reaction time, how quickly we might react. Some things happen that we can't react to, but, the better reaction time we have, the more we're able to recover ourselves. So just another important skill to put in your hiking fitness. But I do bring it back to the what's in your head. You choose to go on the hiking adventure, the hiking walk, the hiking hike, wherever that doesn't even make sense either, the hike. And just get yourself in that headspace before you go. Often if we're running to something from something else and not giving ourselves some space, that's where we just can't get in the mindset, and that's where our risk of injury starts to happen as well. So we did use the polls this morning, and we I'm going to just answer that one right now. Alethea says, do you suggest lengthening the hiking poles as you go down boulders? As I had a big crash in Tassie trying to hold onto the poles, and the guide told me to hang on to the trees, which broke off. Clearly, I need women's fitness adventure training. Wow, that's just a perfect segue. So yes, so this morning our hike we we had a whole session, and there are, if you go into the member resources section, Alethea as a member, you'll see how to hike uphill and how to hike downhill. There's some videos in there. So just hop in there and have a look at those. Yes, you lengthen your poles going downhill, particularly on stairs, but your poles are just part of you. They're not the solution. So you still need that balance. You still need that stability, and you don't lean into them fully, because if the pole kicks out from underneath you or slips out and you can't recover your balance, then you're really going to hurt yourself. Hiking down boulders. So I'm not really sure what type of boulders, but sometimes you are better off without poles over rocky surfaces if they're going to get caught into something. It depends how big those boulders are. It depends what you've got on the bottom of your pole as well. So some poles over boulders, you might need the rubber stopper, but the more you leave that rubber stopper on, the more the spike is going to come through the bottom of it, and then it'll be stuck kind of halfway forever. So the other thing, when you're holding onto the trees, yes, that's an option, but if anyone is going to hold on to a tree, then you hold on to the tree as low down as you can possibly hold on to a tree, because if it is going to break, you're going to go with it. So the lower you can hold a tree, the better. The other thing with hiking poles that we recommend, and again, having been chatting with hiking guides for the past 9 years and all of our adventure partners around the world, is that unless you're in a place where if you were to let go of your hiking pole, it would literally fly away off the edge of somewhere, that we would always suggest that you don't put your hand through the hiking pole strap, because if you do fall, and you need to flick that pole quickly away from you, it is stuck around your wrist, and then you may have even more of an entanglement to trip over the pole or fall on the pole or something like, or not be able to put your hand out to stop yourself because the pole is in the way. So yes, to lengthening the poles as you go downhill, and then the boulders would just depend on the surfaces. So I'm assuming when you say that's your problem, that you had your hands in the straps as well. It's an individual choice, but I certainly recommend that unless your pole is in danger of never being seen again, should you let go of it, then I certainly don't put my hands through the straps. And hanging onto the trees, I would hang down really low, if at all, but I would certainly test the tree, and hanging onto a top branch isn't going to do anything other than maybe rip your hand. And certainly, as you go downhill, there's lots of other skills that, and we have those in the member resources, such as, bending your knees slightly, leaning into your glutes, lowering your center of gravity. So all those skills which come to core strength as well. So lots of different skills that may sound really complex, but once you get into the rhythm of it, become just part of the everyday hiking, and no one can tell. I know Colette and a few of our other members that we see here, you wouldn't know that they're employing all of these skills, because it just after time becomes second nature, and they've done the balance and or always focusing on balance and doing the functional moves, understanding the muscles in their body, the stretching, all of those things that make that whole, middle section, which then affects our head and our ability to feel confident on the trail. So thank you for sharing that one, Aletha. Yep, you've watched those as well. So the other thing I quickly want to talk about in terms of hiking fitness, and for all our members, the Hiking Fitness Masterclass, I really recommend that you watch that if you haven't already, and you can double it up and watch it at speed, is cardio fitness. And sometimes we can kid ourselves that we think our cardio is better than it is. And when our cardio doesn't go to plan, we can tend to blame a whole lot of other things out there. There is no substitute for cardio fitness. We can get our legs and our core as strong as possible. But if we don't boost our cardio along with the boosting that we're doing with the rest of our body, then our cardio is going to give up on us well before our legs do. Hi, Alison. Our cardio will give up on us long before our legs do. So it's really important that we focus on the cardio, that firstly, if we're starting out or we're ready to boost it to the next level, then I'll come back to that one, Colette. Then we're able to go more. So start out with your whatever level of your cardio you're at. No, don't wear a watch to start with, and know what your know what your body feels like. Know what it feels like to elevate your heart rate. Sometimes we can get a false sense of security or insecurity by what our watch is telling us. Know how long it takes for your heart rate to come back down, and then use that as a starting point. Whether you are starting here or whether you've been doing it for a long time and you need to boost that cardio, that is the general rule of thumb that I would use. Now, Colette's sharing here, because Colette's been a hiker for a long time. She doesn't lengthen her poles going downhill because then she's standing too upright, which causes pressure on her feet at the back and can cause slipping. Yeah, comes from your skiing, which you're a good skier. I'm still a novice, which gives better balance leaning forward. Not sure why the advice is to lengthen the poles. So on that, as I said to Alethea, I don't lengthen my poles at all, but for going down some big steps rather than lean forward, if people are using poles, would be to lengthen the poles. I did hear some other advice the other day about going uphill and lengthening poles, and I was really confused about that. So that is my view on there, but certainly, yeah. And another issue walking down hills is wearing multifocal. I have this issue. Better to take them off. Yes, I have a pair of multifocal sunglasses, which I have never used because I can't. I feel the depth perception changes a lot. So if anyone is wearing glasses, multifocal can affect your confidence and can affect your balance, which then affects your confidence. So yeah, better to wear just standard glasses that where you're able to see. And I don't know a whole lot about glasses, but I do know that the multifocal will alter your depth perception. So if you need glasses to read and you're hiking, then just wear sunglasses. And then when it's time to stop and read, which I do, I just get out my other pair of glasses. But they can give a false sense of depth and perception, so you think you're stepping further down than what you actually are. So some great tips there as well. Okay, and Colette, thank you. Colette says she wears hers all the time. She just needs to get used to the effect. Yeah. Cherie says, if I took mine off, I wouldn't be able to see anything. Yeah, so for those of you wearing glasses, it is something that you do need to be aware of, how it affects your hiking, whether you can, adjust over time. And that might mean putting, just going and getting used to it on a trail that's not too complex, not too technical, and then building up from there. Alethea says, I had multifocal contacts, plus I was unfit. Doing the cardio is making my cardio much better. Yep. Guys, there is no, as I said at the fitness masterclass the other night, there is no substitute for cardio. There's no substitute for hills, and there is absolutely no substitute for trails. If you are going on a hike and your only training is on the footpath, then 8 kilometers on the path does not translate to 8 kilometers on the trail. You will find that there is such a huge difference between the footpath and the trail. And I really encourage you to get out onto the trails as much as you possibly can, but making sure that, your head is in the right space, your balance, that your legs and other body parts are strong enough because you've been training them as well. So just one part of the hiking fitness is the confidence. So that is what I wanted to talk about tonight. Thank you for everyone who made some fantastic contributions, because that makes for a great healthy conversation. And as you can see, the ability for everyone to share their knowledge really helps others. And when we know that we're all on the same journey and just come at it from a different approach, it really, might be the difference between someone having this much confidence and this much confidence, or them taking that step into the next hiking adventure. So thank you very much. So just a couple of things going on this week. Our Adventure Ready for Hiking course is in the second half now, and we meet on Monday nights. So the next cohort will open up probably to start late May. So we'll have some more details on that soon. The Couch to Mountain applications close this Friday. So if you are watching and have been thinking about Couch to Mountain, it's pretty much, touch and go if there's going to be any places left by Friday. So if you are thinking of applying, then I would put your application in as soon as you possibly can. And I did do a video on Thursday or Friday here on Facebook. And a couple of our past participants commented and said, run, don't walk, to fill in your application, because it has been the springboard for their hiking journey to so many other things. We also have this week, coming up to the end of the month, next Monday or next Sunday, our team heads off to New Zealand to do our wonderful New Zealand Southern Lakes adventure. So a couple of glaciers there. They're doing some stand-up paddleboarding, some bike riding, and they are also heading to Mount Cook, not to climb Mount Cook, but to Mount Cook and do some hikes around Mount Cook and the Scilly Tarns and all of that in our beautiful neighbouring country of New Zealand. So that's it from me this week. I really do appreciate everyone's comments. Thank you so much for joining in, and I look forward to catching up with you same time next Monday for Monday Night Live. Thanks, and see you then. Bye.